The Number System Study Guide. I'm going to show you the answers as well as how to work out each question. But before we get to that, I want you to read this. Although you may be tempted to just copy the answers, I recommend working them out on your own so you can practice for the test. Use this video as a resource to help you prepare for the test. Do not just copy. It won't help you. So I'm going to go ahead right now and show you the answers to every single one of the problems. For those of you that did work them out yourself, this is a quick way to see if you got them correct, okay? There will be no work on this page because I'm just showing you the answers. Now the idea of me just showing you the answers is so that you can pinpoint the problems that you got incorrect so you can revisit them, okay? All right, now I'm going to take some time and I'm going to work out each problem. The way I'm going to organize this is I'm going to be doing, I'm going to show you first the problems in the first column of each on the pages because I want to do the first one with you. And then after you've done that one, you should pause the video and try doing the next two by yourself, okay? And later on in the video, I will work out each of this next row, this next column, and then after that, this next column, okay? All right, here we go. 14 2/3 minus 1 1/3. I can see right now that the fractions already have a common denominator, so that makes it easy for me. 2/3 minus 1/3 is 1/3. And then 14 minus 1 is 13. So that's how I got 13 1/3. Try these next two on your own. They're very similar. Okay, number 4. 14 75 divided by 5. Since there's no calculators on this, you're going to probably do it this way. 14 75 divided by 5. 5 does not go into 1, but 5 goes into 14 twice. Don't forget to bring up that decimal. 5 times 2 is 10. 14 minus 10 is 4. 5 does not go into 4, so bring down that 7. 5 goes into 47 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. 47 minus 45 is 2. 5 does not go into 2, so bring down that 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, there's no remainder. That's the answer. Number 7. Model on a number line. 2 25 plus a negative 75 hundredths. Well, with vectors, you're going to start at 0. And since it's a positive 2 25 hundredths, you're going to go to the right that many units, 2 25 hundredths. You'll end up right there. It says plus a negative 75 hundredths. Since it's negative, you're going to go to the left 75 hundredths from there. So there's 25 hundredths, 50 hundredths, 75 hundredths. Because our number line is jumping by 25 hundredths. Okay, so your answer is 1 5/10. Okay, try the next two, of course. Okay, write 5/8 as a decimal. So remember, it's 5 divided by 8. 5 divided by 8. Okay? 8 does not go into 5, but 8 will go into 50 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. 50 minus 48 is 2. 8 does not go into 2, so bring down a 0. 8 goes into 20 twice. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. 8 does not go into 4, so bring down a 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. There's no remainder, so that's the answer. Okay, number 13. check all expressions equal to 5 times the quantity of 1 2/10 plus 2 3/10 times W. So one way that I've shown you in class to do this is to use the distributive property, and that's what I'm going to do. You should go 5 times 1 2/10, and then 5 times 2 3/10 W. Okay, so 5 times 1 2/10, that's 6, plus 5 times 2 3/10 W is 11 5/10 W. Now, I couldn't do that all. If you can't do that in your head, I couldn't at first. You can always remember to go 1 2/10 times 5. And that's how I got that 6. And then for this one, 5 times 2 3/10. And then just add the W later. Okay, and that's how I got that, okay? And then just remember to put the W, okay? So this is what I got as my answer, so we have to find equivalent expressions that match this. So it's a plain old 6 plus 11 5/10 W. That's not it. 11 5/10, nope, the W's not with it. 11 5/10 W plus 6. Positive 6, positive 11 5/10, so that's one of them. And then 6, yep, and a positive 11 5/10, that's exactly what I got. All right. Elijah dumped 1/4 of the sand out of a 5-gallon bucket. How much sand is left in gallons in the bucket? So 5 gallons in it, and you're going to dump out 1/4 of that 5-gallon bucket. Okay, and that's going to give you what's left. So I need to get here a common denominator because, well, first I have to multiply this. So 5 minus 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 5/4. I need to get a common denominator here. So I'm going to have a common denominator of 4. 1 times 4 equals 4. So 5 times 4 is 24. So 24 is the same as 5, or 5/1. Okay, and then this stays the same because it's the same denominator. So that's what I got. 24 minus 5/4 is 15/4, or I could turn that into a mixed number and get 3 3/4 gallons left. (19) Select all expressions that show the distance between A and B. So I have -9 is A, B is -1. So if you recall, when I taught this to you, you write down both of them, and you're going to subtract them and find the absolute value of it because distance is always positive. So -9 minus a -1, I know I go to the right when I'm subtracting a negative. So it's really -9 plus 1 is how I'm going to imagine it on the number line. So this would be the absolute value of -8, but absolute value is always positive. So the absolute value of -8, which is asking you how far is -8 from 0, it's 8 units. So the answer is 8. So I'm going to go through here and see which ones equal 8. I'm going to check the box. 9 minus 1, that equals 8, so that's one of them. -1 minus a -9, that's -8. Oh wait, no, that's positive 8. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. -9 plus a -1 is -10. That's not one of them. Absolute value of -9 is 9, minus absolute value of -1 is 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. So that's also 1. Excuse me. 22. Enter the value of 1/7 plus a -2/3 minus a -5. So I'm thinking I need to definitely get a common denominator right here. Remember, this is -5 over 1, same thing. Okay, I'm just making it a fraction so it's easier for me to view and come up with a common denominator. So remember that 7, 3, 1 all go into, the first thing that comes to my mind is 21. So I'm going to make each of them out of 21 pieces. And 7 times 3 is 21, so 1 times 3 is 3. So 3/21 simplifies to 1/7. These are equal to each other. I'm going to copy everything exactly like I see it, okay? Now it's going to be a negative right here. Okay, so 3 times 7 is 21, so 2 times 7 is 14. So negative 2/3 is the same as negative 14/21. Okay, here, times 21 times 21, 5 times 21 is 105. Okay, so negative 5 is the same as negative 5 is the same as negative 105/21. Now that I have a common denominator, now I can just basically go keep the same denominator and then just go kind of straight across. But I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go 3 plus a negative 14, and that is negative 11/21. Negative 3/21 plus a negative 14/21 is negative 11/21. And then minus a negative 105/21. This right here going to the right on the number line. Negative 11 plus 105 is 94. And make sure you keep that same denominator. So that's what I got right there. I don't know why I wrote it up there. I guess I didn't really need to. Okay, so we got that. And I can also turn that into a mixed number and get, let's see, 4 and 10/21. Both are acceptable. Okay, again, try to work out those next on your own. Okay, number 25. Excuse me. Model on a number line using vectors. So I see right here the number line's all in decimals. I got a fraction and then a decimal right here. So using your number sense, 3/4, 3 divided by 4 is 75 hundredths. So I'm going to just go ahead and convert that to its decimal equivalent, okay? And then keep everything else the same. And now I'm going to model this. So start at 0. That's a positive 75 hundredths. I'm going to go to the right, 75 hundredths. And then plus a negative 1 and 25 hundredths. So I'm going to go to the left, 1 and 25 hundredths units. So I'm seeing that we're jumping by 25 hundredths. So from here, there's 25 hundredths, 50 hundredths, 75 hundredths, and 1. And then I need to go 25 hundredths more. So that's going to put me right here at negative 5/10 or negative 5 hundredths. Same thing. Wait, negative 5/10 or negative 50 hundredths. Okay. Again, do the next two. Pause the video, do the next two. The number line shows the yards gained or lost by a team during a football game. Show the difference in yards. So this is a distance. I'm finding the distance. The difference in yards between second and third down. So, or second and third down. Second and third down. So write them both down is one way I showed you to do this. Subtract them and add your absolute value signs, okay? So when I look at this, it's basically like that. I'm going to the right. Oh, good, same denominator. So 1/3 plus 2/3, that's 3/3. And then 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 and 3/3, which is really 7. So 7 yards. Or another way of thinking of this, since one value is positive, the other value is negative, I know from the distance from here to here is 4 1/3 yard. Then the distance from here to here is 2 2/3 yards. So I could also just add those right here. 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3. 4 plus 2 is 6. And we get the same exact answer of 7 yards. Okay? 31. Add two integers that will give you a negative value when you add them. So I want a negative answer. So I can make -6. If you think about that on the number line, you're on the left. And you want to go further to the left, so you're going to add to it a negative number. Like that, okay? Try to make up your own, okay? So -6 plus a -2 is -8. Erica has 14 2/4 cups of sugar in a container. She uses 1 1/4 cup for brownies. How much sugar is still in the container? So this is a subtraction problem. So 14 2/4 minus 1 1/4. And that's really nice because there's the same denominators right there. So 2/4 minus 1/4 that is 1/4. And then 14 minus 1 is 13. So 13 1/4 cups left, cups of sugar left. $37. Erloy bought 6 packages of gummy worms for $10.50. What's the cost of 1 package of gummy worms? So the grand total of those 6 packages was $10.50. And we want to know how much one of them costs. So $10.50 for 6 of them. So $10.50 divided by 6, and now it's a division problem. 6 does not go into 1, but it goes into 10 once. Bring up that decimal. 6 times 1 is 6. 10 minus 6 is 4. 6 doesn't go into 4, but it goes into 45. It goes into 45 7 times. 6 times 7 is 42. 45 minus 42 is 3. 6 does not go into 3, but it will go into 30 when I bring that down. 6 times 5 equals 30. So subtract 30. No remainder, so that right there is your answer. $1.75. Okay, number 40, enter the amount to make the equation true. So we got 39 hundredths minus 49 hundredths equals something hundredths minus 49 hundredths. So these right here match a minus 49 hundredths and a minus 49 hundredths. So this right here is actually 39 hundredths when you say it out loud correctly, 39 hundredths. So the number that goes right here is 39. Now they match, 39 hundredths and 39 hundredths. So right there you would put 39. Not 0.39, 39, because it's 39 hundredths. 43. The number line shows a set of operations. Select the expression that represents the operation shown on the number line. So I'm just going to kind of ignore this first right now. And I see that they kind of try to throw us off with this little old n right here, and then there's a 30n. So when I'm looking at this, from 0 to 12n, what smack dab in the middle would be 6n. Okay, so it looks like we're jumping by 6n. So 0 plus 6n would be right there, plus 6n would be 18n, plus 6 more n's would be 24n's, plus 6 more is 30n, so plus 6 more is 36n, plus 6 more, I guess it doesn't really matter, because we don't even go over there. So if that's 0, this right here would be negative 6n. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So if we start from 0 and go to the right, 24n. And then looks like we went to the left, just 6n, so minus 6n. We go further to the left, so it's going to be minus, and it's going to be 6n plus 6n plus 6n plus 6n. There's 4 6n, so 24n. Okay? And that brings us to negative 6n right there. Okay, so let's see which one models this. So we start at 24n. So anyone starts at 20, oh, there, this one starts at 24n. Went to the left, 6n, so minus 6n, good, and then minus 24 more n. So yeah, that's it, totally right there. Okay? At an orchard, 4 employees picked 162 pounds of apples. They picked apples at the same rate, and the pounds of apples picked by each employee is proportional to the number of hours worked. Fill in the table. So let's see here. I've got employee A, B, C, and D. We got to figure out how many pounds they picked. We know it's a proportional relationship. So I'm going to determine how many hours total were worked. So 4 plus 7 plus 6 plus 10 is 27 hours total. Okay. And I don't really have much room to write, but I'll start with employee A. And employee A worked 4 hours out of the 27 total worked by everybody. And we know that 162 pounds of apples were picked. So that would be right here, 162. We just need to figure out how many pounds that person picked. It's a proportional relationship. So 27 times what number is going to equal 162? And it should, I think it's 6. Right, 27 times 6. Yeah, okay, so that is right. So times 6, so 24. Okay? So out of the 162 pounds total picked, employee A picked 24 pounds. Okay, employee B. 7 hours worked out of that 27 total by everybody, and there was 162 pounds picked of apples, so times that by 6, times this by 6, it's a proportional relationship, so it's 42 for this guy. And then employee C, 6 hours worked out of that 27, 162 pounds picked total, so we know that it was times 6 times 6, so this person worked 36 hours. And then employee D, 10 hours out of that 27. Okay, so times 6, oh, 60. Okay, just to verify we're correct, we know that there was 162 pounds picked total, so we got to make sure these values add up to 162, and if they don't, then I messed up somewhere, okay? So 4, 5, 6, 12, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Perfect, so that's the answer right there. Okay? All right, go through and let's, you should have worked these all on your own. I'm gonna go back to number 2 to see how you did, because if you got stuck on it, I wanna show you how, I wanna support you in getting your answer to help prepare you for that test, okay? So right here, 6 2/4 minus 2 1/4. Again, there's common denominators right there, so 2/4 minus 1/4 is 1/4. 6 minus 2 is 4, so 4 1/4. Okay, try this one on your own. You've had 2 examples, try this one, okay? 9 25/100 divided by 3. So it's top, you know, always, in a fraction, it's always top divided by bottom. 3 goes into 9 3 times, bring that up. 3 doesn't go to 0. Ooh, 3 doesn't go into 2 either. So we need to bring down, or we got to put up a 0 right here. 3 times 0 is 0. Bring down that 2. Okay. 3 does not go into 2, so bring down that 5. 3 goes into 25. Let's see, 8 times. 3 times 8 is 24. 1 left over. 3 doesn't go into 1, but bring that 5 down, make it 15. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. None left. Did I mess up here? Oh, you know what I did? I already brought that down. Sorry. Yeah, you can't bring it down again. I'm supposed to bring down to 0, silly teacher. Okay. All right. I hope I didn't really mess you all up. Bring that down. Okay. 3 didn't go into 1, so you bring down a 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, so we're going to subtract 9. 1 left over. And 3 doesn't go into 1, so bring down a 0, a different one. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. And you're seeing that we're going to have a pattern here. See, this is starting to repeat. So when that's the case, I don't want you to ever write remainder 1 or whatever. Don't do that anymore. We know that it's repeating, so that's what's going to happen right here. We're going to put a bar above this, because the answer is going to be 3.083333333 forever and ever and ever. That's your answer, okay? Okay, number 8, model on a number line. Okay, so start right here. It's negative 1 and 75/100, so go to the left, 1 and 75/100. And then we got plus 25/100, so we're going to go to the right. Just since their units are in 25/100, that's what we're jumping by. We're just going to go 1 over like that. And that brings us to negative 1 and 5/10. Write 27/36 as a decimal, top divided by bottom. Okay, so 36 does not go into 27. So that means I'm going to have to go ahead and add a 0 right there. 36 goes into 270. Let's see, I have to kind of, since we can't use a calculator, I'm going to just kind of go over here. I'm going to guess maybe 6 times. Too small, so let's try a little bit higher. 36 times 7. Ooh, 252, a little bit higher, so let's try 36 times 8. 288 is too big, so it's got to be this one right here, so 7. 36 times 7 was 252. Subtract that. 270 minus 252 is 18. 36 doesn't go into 18, but it'll go into 180, and it goes into 180. I think 5 times, right? Yep. Okay, 36 times 5 is 180. No remainder. So that's your answer. Okay, remember, pause the video, try that third column on your own. Prepare for that test. Don't just copy. Okay, check all expressions that are equal to 6 times the quantity of 2 and 5/10 minus 4 and 5/10 times x. Somewhat, you know, obviously similar to this problem. So use the distributive property. So you're going to go 6 times 2 and 5/10 plus 6 times a negative minus 4 and 5/10 x. Okay? So now that I've done that, I'm just going to kind of down here to go 2 and 5/10 times 6. So it's 15. And then we got 4 and 5/10 times 6. 27. Okay, so it's going to be negative because a negative times a positive is a negative. So this is really minus 27. And don't forget the x right there, because there was an x right there. Okay, so it's a positive 15 and a minus 27x, or a negative 27x if you want to look at it that way. Nope. There's positive 15 and a positive 27x, but that's not, it's clearly a minus or a negative. Oh, here it is, negative 27x, there's one right there, and a positive 15. Okay, that matches. Okay, right here, oh, that's the only one that matches. 17, Alex poured 4/5 of the milk from a 1-gallon jug of milk onto the floor. How much milk in gallons is left in the jug? So we started with 1 gallon. We're going to subtract 4/5 of that 1 gallon, and that's going to give us what's left. Okay, so it's really 1 minus 4 times 1 is 4, 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, 1 minus 4/5. And let's get a common denominator, because that's over 1. It should be 5 as the common denominator. 1 times 5 is 5. So 5/5 minus 4/5, that's the same denominator already, so I didn't, 5 times 1, 4 times 1, same thing. 5/5 minus 4/5 is 1/5 gallons left. 1/5 of a gallon left. 20. Select all expressions that show the distance between A and B. So distance between these. So remember, write them both down. This is probably the fastest way. Subtract them. Absolute value it. So when I subtract a negative, I'm going to the right on a number line. So negative 20 plus 15 is negative 20 plus 5 is negative 15. Absolute value of negative 15 is positive 15. Okay? So let's check all the answers that equal positive 15. Negative 5 minus a negative 20, so it's really negative 5 plus 20, and that equals 15. So that's correct. Absolute value of negative 20 is 20 minus absolute value of negative 5 is 5. 20 minus 5 is 15, so that one matches. 20 minus 5, that's 25, so that's not one that's going to work. Let's see, negative 20 minus a negative 5. Negative 20 plus 5 is negative 15, but remember they want absolute value of it, and that is 15. Okay, 23, enter the value of 4 minus a negative 3/4 plus a negative 6/9. Let's go ahead and get a common denominator for all 3 of those terms. It should be, let's see, 36. Okay, so I'm basically just copying down all my negative values and all that stuff. Okay, so negative, 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 plus, plus, minus, minus. Okay, so 1 times what equals 36? Well, 36. 4 times 36 is 144. Okay, 4 times what equals 36? It should be 9. So 3 times 9 is 27. 9 times what equals 36? Well, times 4. So times that by 4 and get 24. Okay, so minus a negative, I know that's going to the right. So 144 36 plus 27 36. Basically 144 plus 27 is 171. Keep that same denominator. And then plus a negative 24 36. So 171 plus a negative 24. So it's really 171 minus 24 because I go to the left, and that is 147.36. So that's an answer, or you could turn it into a mixed number and get 4 and 3/36. But that simplifies even further, and you could write 4 divide by 3 and 1/12. So all those are possible answers. Okay. Problem 26, model on a number line, -1/2 plus 2 5/10. Number lines in decimals, so I'm going to turn this into a decimal. -1/2 is the same as -5/10 because you go 1 divided by 2 and you get 5/10. Okay. So start at 0 when modeling with vectors to the right, 5/10. And now I got to go to the left 5/10 because it's negative. I need to slow down. Now I need to go to the right 2 5/10. We're counting by 25 hundredths. So okay, there's one whole. I think 1, 2, 3, yep. 1 25 hundredths, 1 5/10, 1 75 hundredths, 2 25 hundredths, 2 50 hundredths. So it should be right here. Our answer is 2. 29. The number line shows the yards gained or lost by a team during a football game. Show the difference in yards between third and first down. So third and first down. Oh, they're both positive. So we got to, basically find the distance right between there and there, okay? And the distance between there and there is 3 yards. I could tell by looking at it. But the way I showed you in class, we could have done it like this. Write down both numbers. Subtract them, absolute value it. 4 1/3 minus 1 1/3, common denominators already, so 1/3 minus 1/3 is 0. 4 minus 1 is 3. So that's 3 yards. Oh, absolute value of it, and it's still 3 yards. Okay. 32. Add 2 integers that will equal 0 when you add them. So it's telling us they want them to equal 0. So think of your own, but I can think of just additive inverses, 5 and then -5. Caprice has 6 3/4 ounces of orange juice in a jug. She drinks 4 1/2 ounces. How many ounces are left in the jug? So she started with this, and she drank it, so that implies it's gone. So, these are not common denominators, so we need to do that. So a number that both 4 and 2 go into, it's 4. That's probably the easiest one. So that one stays the same. And then this one times 2 times 2. Okay, so 6 3/4 minus 4 2/4. That 4 2/4 is the same as 4 1/2. So this is the exact same problem. It's just more manageable and easier. So 3/4 minus 2/4. Now that they're just common denominators, that's 1/4. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 1/4 ounces left. Okay, remember, try that third column on your own. Pause that video. Try it. Danny bought 3 packs of pens for $11.25. How much did just 1 pack of pen cost? 1 pack of pens cost? So again, if you get stuck, look at the previous one. It looks just, it's very similar. The problems in each row are similar. So let's divide $11.25 for all 3 of them. So divide by 3. 3 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 11 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract it. 11 minus 9 is 2. 3 doesn't go into 2, so bring this down. 3 goes into 22. Don't forget your decimal there. 3 goes into 22 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. That's 1. 3 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 15 because I brought that down. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract it. No remainder, so it's $3.75 for 1 pack of pens. Okay, and the amount to make this equation true, I got 5/10 right here. That matches up with this. Say it right, 5/10. And then I have a positive 90 hundredths, so positive, this needs to be 90. Okay, remember this was 5/10. And this right here is 90 hundredths. So say it out loud properly, okay, and it helps you fill them in. Okay, number 44. The number line shows a set of operations. Select the expression that represents the operation shown on the number line. Okay, this is one of those weird ones. Let's see right here. So there's 3 notches. The third notch is 9x. So I can assume we're counting by, 3x. 3x plus 3x is 6x. 9x plus 3x is 12x. 12x plus 3x is 15x. Okay, so if this is 3x, right on the other side, because we're jumping consistently, always on a number line, is minus 3x or negative 3x. This would be negative 6x, and this would be negative 9x. Not that we need that because it doesn't go that far. Okay, so we started with at 0 and we went to the left 6x units. So left means minus. And we go to the right, so it's going to be a plus. How many units? 3x plus 3x plus 3x is 9x. And then plus 3x plus 3x plus 3x, another 9x. Okay, so let's see where we got that here. Here we go. Negative 6x, check. Plus 9x, yep. Plus 9x, it's this last box. 47. At a business, 4 employees made a total of $204 working overtime one day. Each person makes the same hourly wage, and the amount each person made is proportional to the number of hours each employee worked. Fill in the table. So here's the amount of hours that each individual employee worked. We need to know how much money they made, okay? So I know that there's not much room, but you're going to try to, if you want, you can squish it in right here. This is where I'm going to show it. So this is employee A. And I need to figure out how many total hours were worked. So 8 plus 2, 10 plus 5 is 15, 16, 17. So 17 hours worked. All right, so this first employee worked 8 out of that 17. And it says right here they made $204 everybody. So 17 times what equals 204? And you would have to kind of probably write on a separate sheet of paper to figure that out, but it's 12. So multiply this by 12. 8 times 12 is 96. So employee A made $96. Employee B worked 2 hours of the 17 total, and then there were $204 made total. And we got to multiply by 12, multiply by 12. 2 times 12 is 24. So employee B made $24. Employee C worked 5 hours of that 17 total. $204 were made total by everybody. So times 12, this person made $60. And person D worked 2 out of the 17 total hours. And times 12, that's 24. Okay, to make sure we're correct, we know that they all have to add up to 204. Okay, and 9, 10, 14. Yep, 204. Okay, this is correct. Okay, let's go back to that front page and work out that last column, okay? All right, similar to the previous two. Hopefully you're getting this by now. And again, if you have any questions, make sure you bring them to me. Okay, same common denominator, so 4/5 minus 1/5 is 3/5. 15 minus 9 is 6, so 6 and 3/5. Okay, this one right here, negative 15 and 75/100 divided by 3. I'm going to go ahead and divide it, but I'm going to keep them positive values. At the very end, I know the answer is going to be negative, okay? So put that up there as a reminder. Okay, 3 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 15 5 times. 15 minus 15 is 0. 3 doesn't go into 0, so bring down the 7. 3 goes into 7 twice. Minus 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, 1 left over. 3 doesn't go into 1, but it'll go into 15. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Minus 15, that's 0. So remember what I told you, it's got to be negative. So there we go. Okay, model on a number line. Go to the left. I can't find it, hold on. There we go. And then we go further to left, 1 and 25/100ths more. 25/100ths, 50/100ths, 75/100ths, 1 whole. And then 25/100ths more. Right there. So it's going to be negative 2 and 75/100ths. Okay, write 2/5 as a decimal. 2 divided by 5. 5 doesn't go into 2. 5 goes into 24 times. So numerator, that's it. Okay, check all expressions that are equivalent to this expression. So 4 times 2 and 75/100ths plus 4 times a negative 6 and 25/100ths p. Okay, 4 times 2 and 75/100ths. I'm going to write it over here. Okay, so it's 11. And then positive times a negative is going to be minus. So negative 6 and 25/100ths times 4. And 25/100ths, don't forget the p. Okay, so it's a positive 11 and a minus 25p, so that's correct. That's a positive 25p, but this is a minus, so that's not going to work. And negative 25p, there's that, and a positive 11, yep. And that's not even one of them. Okay. Nick spilt 1/6 of the soda from a 2-liter bottle. How much soda in liters is left in the bottle? Started with this. Subtract 1/6 of that 2-liter bottle, and that's going to give you what's left. So let's go ahead and make it 2 for 1 minus 2 times. 1 times 2 is 2. 6. Get a common denominator of 6. 10/6 liters left, or you could say 1 and 4/6, or you could say 1 divided by 2 and 2/3 liters left. Select all expressions that show the distance between A and B. Write them both down, subtract them, put the absolute values. So negative 7 minus 10 is negative 17. Absolute value it, and that is 17. So all the ones that equal 17, check them. 10 plus 7, that's 17. Negative 7 minus 10, absolute value of negative 17 is 17. Okay, 10 minus a negative 7 is absolute value of that. The absolute value of 17 is 17, so that's correct. 10 minus 7 is 3, so that's not one of them. Okay, enter the value of this, 1/2 plus a negative 2/4 plus a negative 2. So let's go ahead and get a common denominator of, let's see, 4. Okay, so times 2 times 2. 2/4 is the same as 1/2. That stays the same. Times 4 times 4. There we go. So 2/4 minus 2/4 is 0, plus a negative 8/4. That's negative 8/4. Or negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. Model on a number line. So decimals, so I'm going to make this, I know this is negative 25/100ths. Okay, and start at 0. Go to the right, oh, just 25, I mean to the left, just 25/100ths because it's negative. Now I got to go further to the left, 1 and 75/100ths more. Remember, we're counting by 25/100ths. Okay, so it ends up at negative 2. Just like, you know, similar to the other ones. You know, follow the pattern if you got stuck, okay? Okay, the number line shows the yards gained or lost by a team during a football game. Show the difference in yards between first and second down. Okay, one way to do this is definitely like write down both the numbers like I showed you when you're finding distance. Subtract them and put your absolute value signs. So minus minus really is plus, common denominators. So 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 and 3/3, which is 4 yards. Or, since one's positive, one's negative, you can think of it like this. From here to here, it's 1 and 1/3 yards. From here to here, it's 2 and 2/3 yards. So that total distance between is, let's say, common denominators. So 3 3/3, which again is 4 yards like we got. Okay? 33, subtract two integers that will give you a positive value when you subtract them. So the one I think of is, I know when I'm subtracting a negative, it turns into a plus, so I can just make this up, like 3 minus a negative 1. Remember, that's plus, that gives me positive 4. Make up one on your own, though. Annalise has 15 4/5 cups of flour in a container, and she uses 3 1/5 cups to make a cake. How much flour is left? Oh, good, common denominators. So 4/5 minus 1/5 is 3/5. 15 minus 3 is 12. 12 3/5 cups left. That fraction doesn't simplify, so that's it. Okay, flip it over for 39. Leah bought 9 packs of toilet paper from Costco for $155.25. How much does 1 pack of toilet paper cost? Division problem. For the total of 9 of them. 9 doesn't go into 1, it goes into 15 once. 9 doesn't go into 6, but it goes into 65 7 times. 9 doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 22. Trying to bring up that decimal. It goes in there twice. With 4, 9 doesn't go into 4, but it goes into 45 5 times. No remainder, so that's it. Enter the amount to make the equation true. Say it out loud. 23 hundredths, which is 23 hundredths. Okay, and then that's a 6/10. So there's 23 hundredths right there, minus 6/10. So this is going to be just a 6 right there. Okay? And 45. Okay, let's see here. Use a number line, or the number line shows a set of operations. Select the expression that represents the operation shown on the number line. Okay, let's see how it's jumping by. So let's see, there's 3 notches, and this one is 6p. So we're counting by 2p. 2p, 3p. I'm sorry, 2p, 4p. And then this would be 8p, and then that'd be 10p. Right here would be negative 2p, okay? So they went from here to the right, it's positive, so that's gonna be positive 8p. Went to the left, 2, 4, 6 p's. Go to the right, so that's gonna be plus 2p. Oh wait, 1, 2, 4p. Okay, so start at 8p, oh, look this one, and then to the left 6p, and then to the right 4p, that's it. At a gym, 4 people ran a total of 28 miles on a treadmill. They ran at the same pace, but for a different amount of hours. The miles ran by each person is proportional to the total number of hours fill in the table. Okay, so let's see how many total there are. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 hours. Okay, so person A ran 2 out of the 14 hours. How many total was it again? 28 miles. Okay, 14 times what equals 28? Well, times 2. So this person ran 4 miles. Okay, person B, 3 out of the 14. Okay, and it was out of 28 total miles, so times 2 times 2, that's 6. Okay, person C, 5 hours out of the 14 total, and then the total miles ran, like it said up there, was 28. Times 2, 14 times 2 equals 28, so 5 times 2 equals 10. So this person ran 10 miles, and person D was 4 out of the 14 total, and then times 2, that's 8. Okay, to make sure we're correct, we know that this has to equal 28 miles total. 10, 28, yep, we're correct. Okay. I recommend studying for your test. Your study guide is very, very similar to the test, and you've had, for each problem on the test, you've had 3 practice problems that were similar to it, okay? So study hard, work hard. That's how you can be successful. Have a good day. Bye.